Okay, we're back for a second time this evening. It's Saturday night, the 16th of December. Time now is about quarter after 8 o'clock. I'll be out here for another 45 minutes to an hour. We're having a look right now at Messier 110. We're getting a slight amount of blockage of the aperture of the scope, but that's acceptable at this point. We're just checking out sky conditions. High atmospheric thin water vapor typically plaguing us this time of year here and at 45 degrees north in eastern Oregon. We're going to be going through the NGC 300 to 349 series. This may be the last of the series that we will pursue this year, and probably not until next November or so of next year. Throughout that intermediate time, I probably will just go ahead and skip along through the catalog, whimsically looking at whatever appeals to me in the NGC catalog throughout the rest of the year, because I won't have nearly as much time to be able to pursue my astronomical adventures. So here we're looking at Messier 110 and moving on to NGC 300. I previously captured what I'd hoped to be NGC 300 in the 250 to 299 series. Right now the scope is pointing pretty deep south. We're at minus almost 38 degrees. We're at right ascension 54 minutes and 53 seconds. NGC 300 is a magnitude 8.1 magnitude galaxy, 19.3 by 13.3 arc minutes spiral with a lowercase c and a d. A mere 8.7 million light years distant. I suspect it lies within the bounds of the local group of galaxies of which the Milky Way is a part. I don't expect to see anything on the screen. I did want to capture the information. We are looking deep into the south, and there's lots of light coming from local light sources that are going into the optical tube assembly of the Skywatcher 150 ED. NGC 301 is a 15.6 magnitude 0.7 by 0.5 arc-minute sized galaxy in Cetus. A lenticular spiral, 300 million light years distant, puts it at about 70,000 light years in diameter. We are at minus 10, almost 11 degrees in declination, and we have yet, however, to arrive at the first hour of right ascension. Can't tell you whether or not the galaxy is on the screen. I have to get a sense of where they're going to turn up. They should be a little more towards the mid-screen, however, after synchronizing the scope earlier. Skipping over a star that inadvertently had been included in the NGC catalog. That was NGC 302. We're now at NGC 303. It's a galaxy in Cetus, a little further south than before, almost minus 17 degrees. Faint, 16.1 magnitude, 0.7 by 0.3. Arc minutes in size, merely designated as spiral, 431 million light years distant. I don't expect to see much of this galaxy on the screen. We can poke around and see if there isn't some kind of faint fuzzy, especially after I get a better idea, because the scope has now been equatorial flipped of where things will turn up on the screen. NGC 304 is a galaxy in Andromeda. We're at plus 24 degrees in declination. The galaxy 304 is magnitude 13, 1.1 by 0.7 arc-minute spiral with some peculiarities, lowercase p, 227 million light years distant. As mentioned, we are at plus 24 degrees. I'm hoping the galaxy will turn up on the screen visibly and make sense based on its aspect ratio and brightness. Once again, magnitude 13, 1.1 by 0.7 arc-minutes. And I suspect it's probably right about there, but I'll have to verify that by observing other galaxies as well and their position on the screen. NGC 305 is just a star group in Pisces. There's no information available on it. Plus 12 degrees in declination. You can see the group right there. Not considered a cluster, perhaps because there's not enough of the distances don't correspond. It could be a chance alignment, or it can simply be the star's spectral types and emissive qualities do not match up very well with each other as a stellar family. NGC 307 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 12.8. Ovolately presented 1.6 by 0.7 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 179 million light years distant. I'm pretty sure you're going to see my gloved finger come up. It's right there, so we should start looking for all of our studies to be where that group of stars was located. That's what prompted me to look in that location to begin with. So we're going to be looking more towards the bottom of the screen now that the scope's been equatorial flipped. NGC 309 is a galaxy in Cetus, brightish, magnitude 11.9, 3 by 2.4 arc minutes, a spiral with a bar, a lowercase c, and a ring, 255 million light years distant. This one kind of gives you an idea of what I'd be looking for when I kind of like just go through the catalog looking for galaxies and other studies of interest. In fact, at a magnitude 11.9, we can actually see the ring on this galaxy, which is usually I point out that it's about 4.5 magnitudes fainter than the galaxy collectively. That's ring luminosity, which would basically put it at about, in this case, 16.5 magnitude. There's the ring, there's the core. Nice look. NGC 309. And we're minus 10 degrees in declination, so that's very impressive. Looking down lower on the screen, although I suspect that may be it, I may need to resynchronize. NGC 311 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13, 1.5 by 0.8 arc minutes lenticular spiral, 229 million light years distant, makes it probably a little bit larger than our own Milky Way. We're at plus 30 degrees in declination. And yes, I would kind of assume that's our galaxy there. I'm going to kind of push things up a little bit in this direction based on that. NGC 314 is a galaxy in Sculptor, magnitude 13.2, 0.9 by 0.8, spiral with a bar, and it's a lenticular with a lowercase a and a ring. We do not expect to see anything of that nature, given the fact we're at minus 32 degrees in declination. But as I'm noticing right now, the image quality is improving, so I'm going to let it run a little bit. You can see how whatever software they're using with the CCD imaging unit is actually trying to compensate for there being a lot of bright light on the screen. That was very interesting to watch. That process is now over. Let's move on. NGC 315, galaxy in Pisces. We're at plus 30, almost a half degrees. It's bright, magnitude 11.2, 3 by 2.5 arc minutes lenticular spiral, some 230 million light years distant. It's obviously, that's our sweetie right there. Lenticulars generally kind of just have a bright central glow and then an aura around them. This one happens to be magnitude 11.2, so we're seeing the core and the core region of it. I'm going to go ahead and maybe shift it a little bit more to the right. You can look over there for future studies based on moving this star, which will rapidly reappear on the screen as I make the shifts, and then I will resynchronize. And here's the result of my resync operation. Maybe we should be seeing more galaxies here. They will tend to drift this way further north and that way further to the south. Okay, we're now looking at NGC 317A, a galaxy in Andromeda, 40, almost 44 degrees north with a certain amount of obstruction due to the roof try. This is a magnitude 14.5 galaxy, 1.4 by 1.3 arc minutes in size. Lenticular spiral class O, 237 million light years distant, puts it about 110,000 light years in diameter. We have still yet to get right ascension hour 100, but I do like the way that field looks, and I certainly can see a galaxy right about there, which doesn't quite correspond in terms of aspect ratio, but that's probably our NGC 3017A galaxy. Let's see if there's a B nearby. NGC 317b is in the same field. It's a galaxy in Andromeda, magnitude 13.9, 1.1 by 0.5. Maybe that is the more obliquely presented galaxy since they're so close. It's a spiral with a bar in lowercase bc, 243 million light years distant at plus 40, almost 44 degrees in declination. We are probably getting a little obstruction from the roof try, but the field looks pretty darn good. NGC 318 is a galaxy in Pisces. No, it's not that one. This one's a magnitude 15, small, 0.5 by 0.3 arc minutes. Spiral, lenticular spiral, 235 million light years distant. That puts it probably at about 40,000 light years in diameter. We're at plus 30 and almost a half degree in declination. Gone deep south, minus almost 21 degrees to NGC 320. Galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13.5, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lenticular class, with a lowercase a and an annulus, a ring, 245 million light years distant, as we have yet to achieve the first hour of right ascension. But I do see the galaxy there. What we have here is NGC 321, liftoff. It's a galaxy in Cetus, faintish, magnitude 15.7, smallish, 0.4 by 0.3. It's considered a compact galaxy, 235 million light years distant. This one's pretty tiny, probably somewhere around 30 to 40,000 light years in diameter. We're at minus 5 degrees in declination. I do believe the galaxy is pretty much right there in the middle of the screen, so I think that last synchronization worked out quite well. NGC 324 was way down south in Phoenix, minus 40 degrees, so I skipped it. This is NGC 325. There were nary a click of the stepper motor, so it must be a neighbor of 323. Galaxy in Cetus, faint, magnitude 16, but larger, 1.3 by 0.2 arc minutes, so pretty much an edge-on galaxy. A spiral of a lowercase c, 241 million light years distant, and if I do recall that, and they are neighbors, they are probably bound with each other. So, not a bad look at minus 5 degrees. I do see a couple of candidate galaxies up on the screen. We've now turned the corner on the NGC 300 to 349 series with NGC 326. Galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.2, face on 1.5 by 1.5 arc minutes. It's considered an elliptical 4. Well, that doesn't make sense for the presentation angle size, but it has peculiarities. This galaxy is 638 million light years distant, must be about 250,000 light years across. If it is in fact an elliptical, this is a massively large, brilliant galaxy, especially in magnitude 13.2. Galaxy definitely deserves some research time on the internet, but you or I may do. NGC 327 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13.4, suboblate, 1.5 by 0.6 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase bc, 245 million light years distance, probably about 110,000 light years in diameter. We are at minus 5 degrees and approaching hour 1 at 57 minutes and 55 seconds. The scope didn't move far from the last galaxy. Now we're at NGC 329, so I suspect it was 328. This is NGC 329, a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13.3, suboblate at 1.5 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b, 235 million light years distance, probably about 110 to 120,000 light years in diameter. We're at minus 5 degrees. NGC 331 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15.5, 0.7 by 0.3 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase c, distant 601 million light years. We're at minus almost 3 degrees in declination. I think we should be able to suss this one out, but it could be a bit of a challenge because of its low sky position. NGC 332 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 15, face on 1.3 by 1.3 arc minutes. Considered a compact galaxy, 236 million light years distant. We're at plus little 7 degrees and a little change above the celestial equator. Now we're lining up our threes here. NGC 333 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14.5, 1.6 by 0.9 arc minute, elliptical, 723 million light years distant. This one is huge for an elliptical galaxy, probably in the realms of 210 to 220,000 light years in diameter. Very mature galaxy, very large. Hasn't really been on a diet because it's probably been absorbing a lot of its neighbors. We're at minus 16.5 degrees in declination. The galaxy is quite present on the screen despite its magnitude of 14.5. Not going to get much of a view here. Probably went too far south for post-culminatory studies. NGC 334 is a galaxy in Sculptor, magnitude 13.8. Perfectly oblate at 1.2 by 0.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase b, but it is 411 million light years distant at minus 35 degrees in declination. I won't be going this far again south because it's really putting a strain on the cabling of the Rev2 system, and my hand can barely reach the off. NGC 335 is a galaxy in Cetus at minus 18 and change degrees, southern declination. 335 is magnitude 14.3, 1.1 by 0.3 arc minutes, so should be definable on the screen. Spiral with a lowercase bc, 255 million light years distance, probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. We're at 59 minutes and 19 seconds in right ascension, so soon we should cross the line. A few clicks from NGC 336 was another galaxy in Cetus. A few clicks from NGC 335 is another galaxy in Cetus, NGC 336. It's magnitude 12, brightish, very small, 0.7 by 0.2 arc minutes, spiral with peculiarities, a mere 88 million light years distant, but I wouldn't want to try to walk to it. We're at minus 18 and almost a half degree, and still haven't crossed to the 1 hour right ascension. Well, this is the kind of galaxy I would definitely look up if I were just doing a tour of the more spectacular deep sky studies. This is NGC 337, a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 11.6, 3 by 1.8 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, lowercase cd, 72 million light years distant. So it's not that impressive in size, maybe about 70,000 light years in diameter. We're at minus 7.5 degrees, and in 10 more seconds we will cross the hour line. That is a pretty decent view. NGC 337. NGC 337 has a nearby associate, 337A. It's a galaxy in Cetus, almost as bright, magnitude 12.2, but much larger, 6.1 by 4.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, 48 million light years distant and roughly minus 7.5 degrees in declination. We have just crossed the first hour of right ascension to the first minute and 33 seconds. Be interesting if both galaxies are showing on the screen. I'd have to look for it mañana, but I do in fact see 3337A's core region, but faintly, so quite large actually, so a good study to find. NGC 338 is a galaxy in Pisces, It's magnitude 12.8, and it's obviously suboblate, probably super edge-on at 1.8 by 0.6 arc minutes, so a 3-to-1 aspect ratio. Spiral with a lowercase ab, 216 million light years distant, puts it at probably about 125,000 light years in diameter. We are at plus almost 31 degrees in declination. There could be, no obstruction of the lens on this one. This is about as good of a view as we could get. NGC 338. NGC 340 is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 14.9 by 0.4 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b, 274 million light years distant. We're at about minus 7 degrees. We are now at 1 hour, no minutes, and 34 seconds of right ascension. NGC 341A is a galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 13, 1.2 by 1.1 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a ring. I don't suspect we can see the ring. We're a little too far south at minus 9 and change degrees declination. The galaxy is 201 million light years distant. But I will be inspecting it more fully tomorrow. I didn't even hear the stepper motor click. For NGC 341b, galaxy in Cetus, magnitude 15, small, 0.3 by 0.2 arc minutes. Once again at minus 9 and change declination. NGC 342 is a 14.5 magnitude, 0.8 by 0.4 arc minute elliptical galaxy, 260 million light years distant. We're a little further north than we were in Cetus before. We're at 6 degrees and 46 minutes. Ooh, it doesn't look particularly good up there, does it? Maybe there's some high, thin clouds passing by. Headed deep south again. We're at minus 23 degrees and change, but we're still in Cetus. For NGC 343 galaxy, very faint. I don't think we're going to see any hide nor tail of this one. Magnitude 16.3, 0.7 by 0.2 arc minute spiral, but it is distant 740 million light years, so it's about the size of the Andromeda galaxy. As mentioned, we're at minus 23 degrees, and other than just seeing the basic field and getting the information, I doubt we're going to see much of anything. NGC 343 at a neighbor, NGC 344, equally faint, magnitude 16, obliquely presented 0.6 by 0.3 arc minute spiral, 744 million light years distant. However, it's showing its right ascension is 58 minutes and 25 seconds. So, who knows? NGC 345 is a little further north where we might be able to make this one out, especially given its magnitude 13.5. Galaxy in Cetus, 1.2 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral with lowercase a little closer to home, 236 million light years distant. We're at almost minus 7 degrees in declination. Shouldn't have much trouble picking this one out. NGC 347 is a galaxy in Cetus, a few clicks away from 346, magnitude 14.5, 0.6 by 0.4 arc minute spiral, 283 million light years distant. We're at minus 6 and almost 7 degrees in declination. Two galaxies may share the same field. NGC 348 was too far south, it was in Phoenix. NGC 349, however, was very close to the 347 and 346. It's a magnitude 13.5 galaxy, 1.2 by 0.9 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 257 million light years distant. We're at hour 1 minute and 50 seconds in declination, and we're wrapped up our 300 to 349 study, and we've finished the NGC SkyQuest series until next year. Whether that's going to be in January or November of 2024, we shall see. Does not mean there won't be more astro. It does mean that I will just be more impetuous in what I manage to turn up. We'll go for a little more detail and texture perhaps. I want to go out on NGC 253 if we can turn it up, but I've noticed it may be too far south, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm disconnecting any cords inadvertently, but I will go ahead, and if it's at 25 degrees south, which I think it is, I think we might have a second look at it for the evening. One when the scope was looking to the east, and the other with the scope looking west. Ah, yes indeed, NGC 253. This is the kind of study I would have a hard time avoiding looking for, where I were just to be exploring the NGC catalog. This is a better view than the one we had earlier. The earlier view was shifted a little too far towards the top of the screen. I'm going to let this settle in here. This galaxy is showing all kinds of detail, texture, bright central core region, spiral arms with H2 regions glowing with hot new stars. I simply have to leave that up for a few moments. I'll give you more details on it while you go ahead and have a look at it. NGC 253, NGC. For you and me, Galaxy in Sculptor, magnitude 7.2, huge 26.4 by 6 arc minutes, beautifully aspected. That's basically a 4.5 to 1 aspect ratio, tilted spiral, edge on. It's got a bar, it's got a lowercase c. It says it's 12.2 million light years distant, probably just falls outside the range of our own local group of galaxies. I will post up some information comparing this to Messier 31 on the Manana, but boy, that is one incredibly spectacular view going from one end of the screen to the other. And we're at minus 25 degrees with all that background light. I am just simply, almost indescribably inspired by being able to see such a view and capture it for others to join me in appreciating its resplendence. Carpe Noctem.